Welcome to the Mental Health Raw and Open podcast with your host, Jody Betty.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Mental Health Raw and Open podcast. I'm your host, Jody, and I don't know if you'll remember, but I ran this platform for a couple of years just before COVID hit, and, everything in the world changed a bit, including myself. I had to take some time out to do some personal healing work, and now I've decided I am ready to bring the podcast back. If you haven't listened before, basically the Mental Health Raw and Open podcast is just a platform for anybody who has mental health issues or has a story about someone with mental health that wants to come on and share or even discuss certain mental health topics. I'm open for anything. It's an open platform. I don't ask a bunch of questions. There's no questions beforehand. It's just a safe space for you to come on and share. And I look forward to, talking to the people that I have lined up, and any new people who want to join can give me a DM, a message on, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or however you'd like to reach me, and we'll make arrangements to get you on the show. I want to I have a producer this time. My producer is Dorian Kent, and I just want to give a shout out to him because he's doing all the hard work while I have a conversation by myself. So yeah. I'm glad to be back, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse and multiple childhood traumas. I'm diagnosed with CPTSD and depression and anxiety. I've done a lot of therapy, and I have done a lot of personal inner work recently that has helped keep me out of the darker spaces of life. I'm also a 3-time suicide survivor. I decided in 2016 that I spent most of my life quiet, hiding secrets and everything, and then in 2016 I decided I was just gonna open up, and I started writing for the first time since I was younger, and I put out a blog site, and I wrote a bunch of posts, and the one pinned on my Twitter page is called I Want You to Want to Live. It went completely viral. I had no intention of that whatsoever. I actually wrote it out of anger, and I guess my words, I wrote it based on what I wanted to hear at the time in a suicidal crisis, and it just seems that those words have hit home with, literally millions of people across the world. So it went viral, and it was in Teen Vogue and, a ton of other places, and it's now got, 3 million or more hits on it. And I left my email address in that because I wanted to be real and authentic and genuine. And I've received thousands of messages from, all over the world. And even though it was 8 years ago, I still get probably up to 5 letters a week, sometimes more, from people just either saying thank you or sharing their stories, or, just needing to know that someone is out there to listen. No judgment, no advice. I am just, I'm a sounding board, and if there's any positive that can come out of my trauma, it seems to be my words can often take people off the ledge that they're standing on, that I've been standing on many times. And I didn't have help. I was by myself on the ledge, and now that I've, not totally healed, but I've healed some of my trauma, I'm able to turn that trauma around into a positive. And, when I can and people reach out, I will take the time to spend with them, to talk them off the ledge and hold their hand while they, step down, and we can put a safety plan into place. It's really important to me, I guess, in my healing process, just to be able to turn my trauma into something positive instead of it being such a heavy weight. And looking at the world through trauma glasses is a very dark experience. And for anyone who is suffering with trauma, know that you can one day you will see the light, you will see the world without those glasses. Please also know that when you first take them off, everything will be so bright that you literally can't see anything. But I kind of feel like that's where I'm here for. I'm here to help guide people down, paths that perhaps they didn't see, and just to give them a sounding board and validation. I think that's super important. What else about me? I suffer really badly with seasonal depression. I live in Canada and we have a horrid winter. It's long and it's miserable and it's dark and it's gray. So this will be the first year, this winter upcoming will be the first winter that I'm approaching it in a more healthy mind frame. So I will keep you posted on how that goes for me when the darkness comes. My depression, it goes, up and down. I'm pretty good with not letting myself fall into a deep pit for too long anymore. My suicidal thoughts are kind of, way at the back of my head. They're not, I wouldn't even say passively suicidal anymore. They're just part of my trauma brain that I've kind of packed up and locked in a vault at the back of my head. So, it's a lot easier to focus on healing when you're not focusing on just surviving. Other than that, like, I'm super passionate about writing, photography, animals. I love all animals. They have such an innocence, and I think for trauma survivors, having, especially with childhood trauma survivors, the one thing that you lose very quickly is your innocence. And seeing the innocence, other people's young children, or just the innocence of animals in general, it's very refreshing for me, and it reminds me of, not necessarily the innocence that I lost, but the innocence that I can now see. Wanting to do this podcast again for myself, to build up my confidence again, but also because I really believe that, everybody's story is so important, and it deserves to be shared, and it deserves to be heard, and that's basically why I created this platform. I will occasionally do a couple of little 10-minute solo podcasts similar to this one, but mostly I will have, either a guest ready to share their story, or I will have a guest on who we've picked a topic beforehand, and, we're going to sit and just go back and forth on it, whether it be, depression, PTSD. I am always open to suggestions, comments, anything like that. Just reach out. You're really easygoing, and I want to make my guests feel safe, and I want to make them feel heard, and I want to, totally validate that their story will help someone else. Everybody's story helps someone else, and some people, they can't find their voice yet, and that's cool. It took me a long time to find my voice, and now that I kind of have it back, I'm hoping to encourage other people to share their stories and open up about their journey with all things mental health. So welcome back, or welcome to the Mental Health Raw and Open podcast. I look forward to spending time with you, and until next week, I will have my first guest on. I'm really looking forward to it. So you will hear from me very, very soon. And until then, be safe and take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Mental Health Raw and Open podcast with your host, Jody Betty. If you enjoyed today's show, please give it a like, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. And if you appreciate the work I do, why not buy me a coffee? Details in the show notes. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Dorian Kent and produced by Jody Betty and Dorian Kent. This has been a Raw and Open production.